Welcome to Emotionally Unavailable Mothers Part 2. Hang on. Well, I did part 1 last week, and part 1 deals with emotionally unavailable mothers who appear to overlove you, where there's no real connection, and so therefore the child feels very abandoned even though they have this gregarious, outgoing, extroverted parent. Today I want to focus on the opposite. I want to focus on a mother who's emotionally unavailable, but she's withdrawn, she is distant, she's quiet perhaps, maybe she's depressed, and the child has to grow up in this kind of environment with a mother who doesn't appear to care at all, and that brings up its own specific challenges as opposed to the child who is overloved, albeit the love is conditional, the love is phony, but it appears to be love. That's quite different from an emotionally abandoned child whose mother is distant and removed. Quite often this kind of parent uses a very permissive parenting style. They're not really involved. They kind of let the kid do anything really because they really are not able to focus on that child. And again, this could be because of their own emotional problems, or this could be because they really don't give a shit. Maybe they weren't really meant to be a parent, didn't want to be a parent. Whatever the reason is, the child pays the price. In these situations, the parent doesn't really understand the influence that they have over their own child. They just don't get it in terms of that they're impacting their child potentially for a lifetime by their parenting style. They don't realize the influence. And also because they probably feel inadequate in their parenting duties, their parenting style, they let the kid do what they want to do because they don't know how to step in or don't think they're capable of stepping in and providing healthy boundaries and guiding and communicating and leading and sharing and giving objective input. They don't want to do any of that because they don't feel that they can do that. So hence they become sort of distant and removed and away from everything, when in reality there's some underlying reasons as to why they're doing that. And part of the reason they're so removed also can be because they really don't want their child to grow up. Not really, not in a healthy way that's going to take that child away from the neglectful parent. So one possible underlying reason that the parent may not even be aware of consciously is that if I don't parent properly, if I just let this kid do what they want, then they're not going to be prepared for the world. They're not going to go out there and be healthy, functioning adults and hence leave me. They can't really do that because I haven't prepared them to leave me. So that leads to a distant, remote, unloving parental style. Now, these kind of parents are not going to be involved then in the kid's school life, for example. So all those things that parents normally go to, the PTA meetings, the play that the kid is in at school, the sporting events that the kid is involved in, providing those signatures for the kid to go on a field trip, or supporting that child in any obvious way. They're not doing that. They're very removed and distant in all these ways. This leads to a child growing up and feeling very unloved and uncared for. It can be really hard for kids to grasp what I'm talking about right now, to grasp at the fact that they have an emotionally unavailable mother, because it's so opposite of what the world portrays in movies and so on. We always see the symbol of the mother bear who is doing anything and will go out of her way to take care of her cubs. And so we think of a human mother in the same way. Of course, they're going to do all they can for their children. But part of doing videos like this, and for anybody who's interested in mental health, you begin to see that that is not the case at all. The reality is that many parents just really don't care, and that can be because they're purposely being neglectful, because they don't want the child to really grow up and leave them, or they just don't get it that they need to be caring and loving because they don't see the benefit of it, or they weren't cared for and loved themselves when they were growing up, so they're repeating the pattern. And then when you sprinkle on some possible mental health issues, for example, a mother who's chronically depressed, or a mother who's bipolar and she cycles up and down with a mania to the depression, and when she's in a depressed state, just completely withdraws, sometimes for weeks on end, there can be various mental health issues as to why a mother is behaving this way. These mothers appear very walled off and unresponsive to their child's needs. The mother rarely really listens to the child, and the child, of course, thinks that the mother doesn't care. Sometimes kids like this will share in individual counseling that they really wanted their parent to yell at them, to maybe even hit them, because what that would mean is that the mother really cares. That child wants it to be shown in some way, and so when the parent never shows it, they just are craving for it, even if it would come out in a very unhealthy, negative way. And that's so sad when you view it from that angle. That's the thing about being emotionally unavailable, is not only is it hurtful to the child in so many ways that's going to affect them as an adult and in their relationships, but also therapists have to work with clients in dealing with the sadness. The sadness should not be pushed away. The sadness needs to be processed and grieved and talked about, because that's a natural response to being raised by an emotionally unavailable mother. So I hope this short video clarifies a little bit about mothers who are distant and why they're distant, gives you a little bit of insight into this. Please leave me some comments below if you'd like to share what it's like for you if you were raised by a mother who's similar to what I just described. Please subscribe to my mental health YouTube channel if you like these kind of videos. And until next week, this is Brad Shore signing off from Ask a Shrink.